Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Wee Paddy here from across the shuck, and I'm just having a wee suck on my fag there. Um, you've seen by the video title, knives that started my channel, and these are ones that I still have from the very start of my YouTube journey, which seems such a long time ago now, and it's only just over 3 years. But the difference in the knives that I had then to now is just, it's beyond. It made me smile this morning when I was picking the knives. These are still knives that I have. Obviously, an awful lot I haven't got, but what I've gone back in my channel till I was 200 subs and worked back from there. And these are the knives that I have that started me to get up to 200 subs, just to see what they're like compared to the knives that I have today. And trust me, I think you'll enjoy seeing this, because I don't know, probably a lot because I was European and I didn't know where to get knives, and I was just getting them mostly off AliExpress or GearBest and places like that. It was the only places I knew to get knives. I didn't even know the likes of Heine Haynes existed, so there we go. So I'm going to start with this because this is one that I'd had long before I started the channel. This was a knife that I loved, and little did I know just how good a knife this was. This is the Opinel number 6. It's in carbon steel. You can see the age and the use that this knife has had. I used this when I was bushcrafting. This was my eating knife. This was my cutting bits of string knife. It was around the camp, anything at all. And I still have it, and I still use this knife today. It's just, if I've got a mucky job, this is a knife that gets it. I just recently put this wee choil on it here for pulling it open easier. I've seen somebody do it in a video and I've done it recently, which you can tell now that's why it's nice and clean on the inside. But what an amazing little knife. So there's the first one that it didn't get me into knives. The other knives, I have big buck knives, but the knives that I'd had before the channel, this is the one that was my user. This is what I had to set the targets on, which was very low. So there we go. There's the first one. And the next one was a wildly expensive knife in my view at the time. My wife, but when I sort of get into, I said I was going to collect knives, it was just around the Christmas time. And my wife bought me this Delica after I shopped online forever and ever. And I bought this from Heine Haynes, I believe. The Spyderco Delica. What a stunning little knife it was. It was beautiful. I loved this knife. It cost at the time about 60 odd pounds, so $80. Which was just a stupid price for a knife, really. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't a knife collector. I just found it. And when I got it in hand, it is beautiful. And the Delica is lovely in hand. And it's a great knife. And it's still in my collection. And I still use it occasionally. But not that often. I've just recently put a deep carry clip on it. That actually made it a better carrying knife for me. So the Delica was the next one. It was one of the first knives on the channel, and one of the most expensive for a long time. So there we go. We'll put the Delica up there. I've got 10 of these and then one little bonus one. The next knife, because it's around Christmas, my birthday's in January, my children then bought me a Tenacious. And this is the very one, a gorgeous knife. This was a bigger knife. Much better suited to the tasks that I had at the time, which was I still would have gone, maybe out bushcrafting or just out in the forest or whatever. And this was a great knife to take with me. Liner lock, as you know. But again, I put a Kershaw deep carry clip in that. Another great knife. But this is where the smile started to come, because this was my first video on YouTube. And it was the Ganzo, and it was the F759M. This isn't the original one, but it's the same colour, same make. These were my giveaway knives. I used to give these away to anybody who would take knives. This was the Delica killer. My first video, this against my Delica that I had just got for Christmas. And I thought this was going to wipe the Delica. You can see how much that's been sharpened. This is, even the original ones, I sharpened them on rocks, anything for the channel. So the Ganzo. This is my first introduction to Ganzo, and I loved this knife because it had a forward choil. It wasn't as good as the Delica, but in hand, because of the forward choil, to me it made it better than the Delica. And it was just newcomer's luck that I managed to get two knives, but it excited me that you could get two knives that were polar distances apart as far as price were, but were as good as each other. And that was the basis of my channel for so long, was just what you could get for the money. And the next one is an SRM 7063. Can I just tell you, I'm going to open this up. The writing on this, where is the writing on this? This one's not so bad. I'll show you another one. But this was my first venture into what I now know as an axis lock. This was just a copy of it that San Remo done. And this, to this day, is still one of the best copies of the axis lock that I have ever had. Even the modern knives today, this is a little stumpy knife. But if you can get your hands on one of these, San Remo used to make them, then QB do it now, the more modern Chinese companies. But San Remo made this originally. You can see the San Remo, no, maybe you can't. There's a San Remo logo there. This was just the most fidgety thing I had. Listen to how smooth this is. I mean, this knife was under £10. You know, it's aluminium. It's got a deep carry pocket clip. Everything you want in a little fidget knife. It's only a small knife. What length is it overall? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just over 6 inches. So a small little knife, but for an EDC knife, it's a hollow grind, and it's done so well. Beautiful, beautiful knife. So that led me into San Remo, which was another company I used lots of. I have lots of content for the channel from San Remo. And up until that 200 subs, I had so many San Remo Ganzo cheaper knives. These are just ones that I've got left now, that I've kept in my collection. And most of them are all sentimental because it reminds me of that start that I had when at the time I hadn't been well for a long while. There wasn't much money about, so I was buying on a very tight budget. I had very little money to buy knives. So, and this is not an excuse for the next knife. This was one that I got on AliExpress, probably one of the first ones I got off AliExpress. And this is a bird turn, but it's a copy. It cost me under £10 at the time. Still have it, and I still use this knife, and I still use it to show, because it's a complete and utter copy of a turn. I'm sure it's made in the same factory. The fit and finish is absolutely perfect. It has never changed. 8CR13, but an amazing knife. Again, just a cheap knife, but the ergonomics with this forward front choil, I loved it and used it extensively. Now, what else? Then back to San Remo again. I'm surprised that, look, here's a wee knife that I have kept all this time. Now, I think I bought multiple of these, and I've given them away in giveaways and over the time, but I think I managed to snag one not so long ago. But here's the funny bit. 3.5 years ago, however long it was, the writing that tells you the number for this is there. I can't see that now. I used to be able to see that. I had to get a magnifying glass out to get this. This is the 4053. Brass little liners in there, and the stainless steel covers. It is the most, it's like a razor blade. It's genuinely like a razor blade. When you see it, look how thin that is. This today, I would still use and throw in my fifth pocket. This is a lovely little lockback. It is so secure. San Remo makes some of the best small knives in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Their fit and finish, their quality is just amazing for the price. So there we go. My camera's now trying to focus on everything else, bar the knives that are out there. And then here's what was known then as the Sebenza copy. This is a Land. What a stunning knife. And this was in 12C27. Again, it was a very budget knife. It was around the £10 mark. It's a liner lock. But after all, look at this. This is just an amazing knife. Still today. And they still make and sell these today. I'm not sure it's Land, Land were a subsidiary of SRM, San Remo. But look at that for a knife. It's just still to this day a really relevant knife. It's a flat grind, saber grind, but a stunning, stunning knife. I used the living daylights out of this knife. Loved it. I can remember me and Nasty Renegade getting these knives and being absolutely blown away by them. So John, over there, I'll be asking you to do a wee video. And then here's another one. This was the original challenge. It makes you laugh when you think about the Chris Reeves. This is what they said was a knockoff. Now, they didn't have this on. This is a more modern thing. But I'd got this one not so long back just to remind me. This is one that I had in the beginning. Again, San Remo, the fit and finish. This is supposed to be a copy of the small Sebenza 21. Lovely little knife. 8CR13, I believe, was the blade steel on them. Can't even read it anymore. No, can't read it. But it was a great little knife. Great pen knife. This is all metal construction. But the pocket clip is down only. Tip down, sorry. Just a lovely little knife in hand, much as the Chris Reeves is, but this was about £6 or something. It was just, and I mean, I believe that they still sell them on GearBest and AliExpress now, and there's nothing wrong with it. As a pen knife, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. You couldn't buy much better. In fact, you couldn't buy anything better for that sort of price. And here now is one of the knives that I still use and carry from them original days. And it's when this is a knife that made me completely fall in love with Ganzo. And here it is. This is the Ganzo 753N in carbon fibre. When I first had it, it was green G10. This came out a bit later, and I have had this ever since it came out. What a stunning knife. It is just the axis lock. Now, in these days when these first came out, you had to break in the axis lock. It would have been very stiff when it came, but this just broke in now and is as good as any Benchmade I have ever had. I've never broke the spring on a Ganzo lock. This is just a stunning little knife and is relevant today for a knife collector. You look at that shape now and tell me how many shapes out there now that are very similar to that. Look at that handle. It's a small knife again, a great EDC knife. I'm just going to measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exactly 7 inches long, 3 and 4, my perfect length. Look at that handle, how neutral it is. Your first finger there, the forefall behind it. The jimping is purposeful in the right place. It is just a stunning knife. I would recommend people go out and buy this now. If you see it, buy it and put it against your knives because, again, this was single figures when I was buying them just over 3 years ago on GearBest. So there you go. There's 10 knives that started my channel that I still have, and I've kept them for... Some are sentimental, others, they were just blooming good knives. And although maybe some of them I've given away and replaced them, I've still kept the original knives that started my channel. And this was the sort of budget that I was at. And this was the budget that people accepted me at. And this is the one thing I'm going to say. I've subs from all around the world and I love you dearly. But the American audience, when I first came around, are the audience that most knife lovers get to know if you're from outside of America, because they came round me, they helped me, they encouraged me. I knew nothing about knives, and it was all a learning curve, and I used to get comments that were amazing. And one man in particular who's still around now, doesn't have a YouTube channel, has an Instagram, Tony Meador, was one of the most interesting, intelligent men that I met when I first came around, who helped me out immensely. I didn't even know what grinds were and things like that, and he helped me out, and he used to comment on nearly every video, and he has done nearly since for over 3 years now. He still comments on my videos, and I appreciate him more than he'll ever know. He was one of the first person that gifted me a beautiful knife, and here it is. This is the knife. This is the Tucson, and it was in D2. I didn't have a knife in D2. I'd never had a titanium knife. I mean, this was the top of the range for me. This blew my mind away. I loved this knife, and I still love this. Again, this is a good size work knife, let me tell you. Really is a lovely size work knife. Liner lock, still perfectly engaged. And look at that action. So Tucson are not a brand new company, as most people tend to think, because there's so many of them about now. There's that Tucson, which is just stunning to this day. That's over 3 years old. So I've been with Tucson and had Tucson for an awful long time. And I've had plenty of Tucsons and still have a few in my collection that I'll never get rid of because they're just so good. And this D2 seemed to be pretty good at the time. The heat treat was good. As I think back now, because I didn't know anything about sharpening anything by hand, these were all the things that I learned when I came into this community. And this is a thank you to the community, because if you started your knife channel now with these sort of knives, you wouldn't last very long because people just don't watch. But I was watched and encouraged, and that's why I tend to try and find new channels now to encourage them, because my collection has grown exponentially compared to what it was then. And my finances have changed a bit. I've got better health-wise, mental health-wise. But the channel was the main focus that got me out of a hole in life that nothing else had done. And it had moved me on, and it's taken me through a journey and friendships that I cannot... Excuse me, I'm going to have a drink. That wasn't emotion, I was just a dry throat. But it is emotion in my heart. This community has taken me on a journey that I'll never forget, and I will never take for granted. That when somebody comes around and gets in this community... Sorry, my voice is gone. So, I hope you enjoyed this. I would love everybody who was around before me, after me, at the same time as me, like JT and Stasa. They're the two that we sort of started, and John from Nasty Renegade. If you were about when we all started together, or if you've been about for years, what knives have you still got left from your first 200 subs that you still have now? There doesn't have to be a number. I'm just a sentimental fart and find it very hard to get rid of knives. So I've got quite a few. But let's see what you've got. I'll run a little... if you put a video up and let me know you put the video up, I'll put it on a listing on my channel, and then people can come and have a look at at your videos on my channel. So thank you very much indeed, folks. Really, really enjoyed it. And what I'm going to do now is... the knives that I came out in order there's the list of them. There we go. I'll put that there. I'll take it away. So if you need to know what knife they were, I've put them out in order, and there's the names to them. Take care, folks. Stay safe, everybody. You have my prayers and thoughts from the Emerald Isle to those of you all around the world who have made this journey amazing. My start. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.